Hello there, everybody. It's the Dankosaur here. Welcome to another Gamemaker tutorial. Yay! And today, we're going to be talking about and showing some profile saving for some individual profiles in your game, which is pretty cool. Something that would be like really neat to be able to use and stuff. And it's not too hard. You just got to know some stuff. But first, I just want to talk about real quick, make an announcement that like the Ludum Dare is like coming up in like a week. And I'm gonna do it. And I was thinking about live streaming it, but I'm deciding, you know what, no, that's a long time, and I'm gonna be coming in and out doing other things and whatnot. So live streaming it wouldn't be the best thing, but I just wanted to announce this so that when that's all over with, I'll show you what I've done and just kind of the result of it. But for now, also so keep that in mind. I'll be making announcements on like Facebook and stuff about what's going on and how things are going and whatnot. So keep that in your mind. That being said, I'm thinking leading up to the Ludum Dare, all my uploads this week will be programming tutorials. Yay, whichever one likes. So it's going to be great. So let's get into this profile saving tutorial. I'll show you what I have so far in this tutorial. So as far as we get started, I've just done some base things. So basically we got like this room, right? We got these things, new game. When I hover over them, they kind of grow a little bit. Boink, 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 boink. You're not right. They'll say new game. All done in like italics and whatnot. And I'll show you some of the stuff behind it as well. But that's all we have. We click on them, nothing happens. They're not showing any information. So as far as sprites go, we just have this one sprite. That's our button. That's like our profile thing. We also have this other one that's like icons. If you can see that, they're Dead by Daylight characters. So eventually when our profiles have like add-ons and stuff like that, like, or like have different things, we will go. And so eventually those will be there, but those are just here for now. Then as far as fonts go, we got a font regular, which is like Source Sans Pro Black, regular Bink, and then I've got the same font Bink but italicized for the new game thing. So that's how it's looking so far. We got this object make profiles, and in it right now, this is all it has. It's got this for loop, and you can pause this right now because you'll want this in here because we're going to use it. And then we just have instance create, and then it uses this eye to like add more of it to like make a bunch of the profiles. And then if we go down here, we have our profile, which is a little bit more complicated, but all we have in here is some variables. We've got portrait, which is 0, which is going to be the icon that we have. It's going to be the frame in the sprite of which icon that we're going to have. Our name right now is new game, but when we load an actual file, that will change to whatever the file's name is. File number is like which like profile it is. Right now it's set to -1, meaning -1 in ours we're deciding is going to be is going to signal a new game. So if this is -1, it'll be a new game. Otherwise, it'll load a file and whatnot. And then our actual file is going to be the path of where the file is. This variable called size is like controls like how big it is. So it's just 1 right now. First scale 1. Then we've got this little if statement in here that says if our mouse is hovering over it, right? If the size, and my phone is ringing, and it's someone from Florida. I don't know anyone in Florida. And so if our size is less than 1.1, which is going to be like the scale, of our portrait thing, then it's going to add it to it just a little bit. And then otherwise, if there's no mouse on it, shrink back down, and then change our X and Y scale accordingly. So that way this gives just that effect that when our mouse is hovering over it, it gets bigger a little bit. And then when it's not, it'll shrink again. So that's that whole thing. Of course, you can pause this to get this if you want this sort of. This is just an effect thing though. This doesn't have anything to do with our actual thing. Now this is our drawing stuff. So first we want to draw self, so it actually draws our button, right? Like our blue square thing. Now this is a statement of file number is equal to -1, which we said before is signaling a new game. It's going to set our color to gray, our font to the italicized one. I'm setting like the origin of our text to the center, but I still want it on the left though. So I'm only changing that, and then we draw our text name, which is our variable, which in this case will be new game because that's what we set it as, right? And then that's that. But if it's not a new game, like if it's a regular file, we go else. We go draw color white. We set it to white. Make the font regular. We're going to center it again on our up and down, like in the middle, vertically. And then we're going to draw our text name again, same place, but our name's going to be different because it's going to be like Dwight, you know what I mean? And then our sprite, we're going to actually draw a sprite from the icon sprite, which is over here. The sub image is going to be our portrait, whatever it is, and then we're just going to draw it in the correct spot. In fact, I might add like that much to it. And then, so it's going to be in the center, Y, X over right there. So that's what we have so far. This is more important. The growing and shrinking, that's just effect thing. You don't need that at all. But if you want it, I think it's a neat effect. So let's get into this actual thing. I don't have a ton of time because, you know, work and stuff. Work kind of sucks, but it's okay because it makes you that Dolan. So let's get into this. We're going to be using INI files. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. Most likely you have, but if you haven't, they're just a special type of file that you can put information into that Gamemaker kind of reads specially. So, number one, when we make our profiles, we're going to go if file exists, right? And then we're going to do, so we're going to name these profile, and then we're going to add I to it. And we got to go plus, and we got to put .ini in quotes like that. We don't want that though. So basically, this is going to look into our local folder for Gamemaker. Now, one thing to know about any sort of file saving is that Gamemaker only saves file to its local cache of files. So I'll show you what I mean. This one probably won't have one yet. But if you go down here to search and you type in %local app data % and just hit enter, eventually it'll take a second to load. But then we pull up with this folder. And so we got all these folders and stuff, and a lot of games put their things here. Here's Dead by Daylight. If we look at here, it just has it'll have regular folders and stuff, but we won't be able to really touch this stuff. But you know what I mean. So a lot of games use this, and so Gamemaker does as well. Our thing is called Profile Saving Tutorial. So eventually, once we start saving files, if we scroll down, eventually A B C D F G H I J P QRST. So eventually, it'll come up right about here. Yeah, here we go. Here's the P's. A folder for our game will come up right here, and that's where we're going to find our saved files. But we don't have any yet, and that's what we're going to start doing. So first, we're going to see if a profile exists, right? If a file exists there, and if it does, and so our files are going to be called profile, and then they're going to be 0 through 9, just for. Because we're putting our I in there, .ini, that's what we're going to be calling them. So if there is a file, then we're going to change this up. We're going to go with instance create profile. We got to take that away and put another parenthesis. And we're going to set file num equal to -1. Saying, oh wait, no. We want it to be I. Ha! Then we want to go else. And then we want to say with instance create. Same numbers and stuff. 150, let's see, 54, and all these numbers are specific to my game and stuff, to our little testing game right now. And then we're going to have object profile. Same thing though, we're going to make a profile object, and then we're going to go file num equals -1. Alright, so that way it'll say if there's a file there, if we actually have a saved file there, it'll create a profile object and set its file number to I. Alright, which in whatever case is going to be 0 through 9. Otherwise, if there's no file there, we're going to do instance create file number equals -1. Now, if we run our game, nothing should be different because we don't have any files, so they're all going to still spawn as new games, right? And in fact, it's going to crash a little bit. Oh yeah, I know why that crashed. Okay, that's easy. Also, I always forget. So since I is an actual number, and these are strings, we got to do plus string. Whoa, in parentheses. That way it converts our number, because it's trying to add a number to a string, and it's what the crap are you doing? This way we're converting that number to a string, and then it can add it all together and get it. There we go. I always make that mistake, but it's easy to fix, and especially if you know what you're looking out for. So if we come in here, boom, as we can see, nothing's different. Here is where now we got to do a little bit things on our profile end, right? This, I want to change this. This always comes up when I play games, and every time I run a Gamemaker game, I hate it. It's my graphics card thing. It's dumb. But anyways, so we got our things like that. Now let's go into our profile. Bink. So we can probably take out file num. No, we need that there. What we're going to do is do an alarm 0 equals like 4. The reason being is because I don't want to, because it's gonna, if we, it's kind of weird with the way Gamemaker's set up, because if we make a profile object and set its number to I, right, it's gonna first do this create event, right, it's gonna do everything in here, and then it's gonna go along and then do all the stuff that we set like in here. I think that's the way I've observed. So if we program it, so basically why we're doing this is that we're doing an alarm. That way it'll set our file number to whatever file we actually want to load first, and then it waits just a second, and then, in fact, we can make it like 2, really. Like, it doesn't have to be very long. It has to be at least 2. That way, then we for sure know that our file number is going to be set correctly, and then it's going to load that file. So it'll set this default stuff right here. But then we want to go into our alarm 0 event. This is where we're going to actually load our files. So we're going to say ini open, right? And our file name is going to be something. We got to take that out too. Okay. So we'll come back to this, our ini open. Let's go to our make profiles again. We got to do a little bit of things here. So file, this is going to be easy. It's just going to be profile. The same thing we put up there, plus string I, plus, and then dot ini. And that's my alarm for some other stuff. I can't forget to do that. Can't forget to do that. You know that stuff that you set on your phone for like an alarm, and like stuff that you don't forget, but you're busy at the time, so later you forget. Yeah, I do that all the time. Okay, so file is equal to the same thing of their profile plus string, all that stuff, right? And the profile here is just going to be blank because this is our new game, so it doesn't actually have a file. So now we're going to go into our profile. And first, not here, in our alarm 0 event, very first, we're going to say if file num is not equal to -1. Basically, if we're not a new game, because our new game stuff will already be set at that point. Then we go ini open, and we just put in here file, because that's the file that we have. Bink. Let me put our close parentheses so we don't forget. Now, this stuff is pretty easy. So first, let's get our name, right? Name equals and then it'll be ini get, or like it's ini read string. There it is. Read string. Our section, because we've never made any of this stuff yet, but basically it'll put like a little section, and then it'll put like a variable number, and then like a default. That's what we're doing right now. So our section is going to be we're just gonna call it, and it's gonna be a string, profile, right? Our key is name, because that's what we're trying to find, and our default is going to be Dwight. We're gonna make the default Dwight. So basically, if it can't find that key, like if it can't find that, this is what it will do. It'll just make it Dwight, right? And then our portrait, this is a variable that keeps track of what it is. We're going to do ini read real, because it's a number, right? Our section is also going to be in profile, because we're going to put it on the same stuff. Our key is going to be, we're going to just call it icon, just for short, comma, and then default is going to be 0, because that's also Dwight's picture. So that's all the stuff that we're going to have. Now, for one thing you don't want to forget is whenever you do this, you want to do ini close at the end, because like you can only have so many open at a time, so you want to make sure you're closing them, and also it saves on like memory and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's all that, how that will go. And that's all this, because then we're going to get our name and our portrait and everything like that. Alright, so that should be everything there. Now, if we run this, still nothing will change. At least, hope not. Right? We come in here, all new games still, right? We want to change that. So first, let's do it manually. Let's go into our %local app data %. And now at this point, maybe there is a file, there's a folder for it. There doesn't seem to be, so we can make one. And we just call it profile underscore saving underscore tutorial. Because that's how it's going to make it. So if we come in here and then we can go new, and we're going to make just a text document, and we're going to call it profile 0, right? Now in here, this is the way INI files are set up. They'll have like a bracket, and we called this profile, right? That's what it's going to have right there. And then in here we're going to have name, and we're going to equal this Dwight. Actually, let's make it a little bit different so that we know. Let's make it Claudette. That's not how. There you go. And then I don't think there's colons. I may be wrong. I don't know. I'll put one anyways. No, there isn't. Okay. And then icon, we called it, is going to be 1 because that's our sub image right here for Claudette. Ding, 1. All right. Now, that one thing we want to do now, and it's exactly like I said, I don't think there's that, is we want to save as. So this is how you custom make like an INI file, is that you go save as, all files, and we want to just put .ini. That way hit save, exit out of this. If we go into our folder again, we got like our text document, which we can get rid of, and then our INI, which is going to say configuration settings and stuff like that. So let's go in here and hope this works. And let's see. Let's hope it does. Profile Okay, yeah. So that's the thing. So yeah, we do need to set file num in here. We want to set it to default -1. Okay, that's good. And then file. We do want to set these defaults because our draw event's gonna try and do it and like stuff like that. So as long as you got that, here we go. Now let's go into this. Oh, I need to hurry it along. Luckily, there's not much left. Oh, we're still crashing. Not set before reading it. Room start. Room start. Room start. Here, something's wrong here. File num equals -1 equals I. Oh, I. Oh. Huh. We want to put other point I. What am I doing? I'm being a goofster. Other point I, because our I variable is here in the make profile. It's not in the. See, I goof up on things like that. All right, that's all we needed to do. Okay, now let's think. Let's hope things don't get. So maybe no, yeah. So maybe here we can actually take these out again. Goodbye. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe I don't know. Ah! We'll see. If it crashes, then we'll fix it. Well, hopefully it won't crash. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so there we go. It worked. Our first file is Claudette, right? And then we got all these new games. So that's cool, right? Because then what we can do is we can program it when you like press on it. You can set some global variables to all the information, because you can put more information into the files like health and X and Y coordinates and room that it was in and stuff like that. And when you click on it, you can just load all that stuff from the file, just like we use using our read real and read string. You can use those to set like global variables, something like that, to like make in room and things. So let's right now just do like a new game so we can make new profiles and stuff. So the way we're going to do it is a profile, and we're going to say, we're just going to go and do like a left pressed event. And we're going to say if file num equals -1, right? So if we're a new game, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ini open still. Let's see, why did I do that? We need another thing. We need one more thing. Profile, because we got file number, but then we basically, what we're going to do, we're just going to call this number, and we're going to call it other point I. This one needs it as well. Number, other point I. Because it needs to be like the same thing. So we need to keep track of like a file number, sure. But then but you see, that's like kind of silly. Because we don't really need that, and because then we can just say if it's blank. Anyways, this will still work though. You can, of course, modify this as much as you want to make it better and stuff like that. We're just making it work right now. So let's go back into our left press. If file number equals 0, right? And then we're going to say ini open. And then we're going to say file name is going to be profile, except in quotes, profile plus string. And then here we have number. That was our variable that we just created. And then plus, not 9, plus dot ini. All right. Now, for this sake, I'm going to randomly generate the stuff inside. So basically, I'm going to make this var, and I'm going to call it rand, and I'm going to call it irandom3. So it's going to get a random number between 0 and 3, and that's just what we're going to do. So we're going to do ini read string. All right. And we need like another thing too. So we're going to say var ran name equals, our first guy is Dwight, var, except these needs to be an array. See, this is stuff that I'm doing for the sake of tutorial, but you want to do other stuff like this, because you'll probably have prompts that come up and say, oh, you know, type in your name, and then you'll do that, and then it will, you know, eventually put it all into the file and stuff like that. You have the tools. You have the tools. So it's just, I keep spelling Claudette wrong. It's hard, okay? Var ran name. I don't know if you can do an array as vars, but we're going to find out. Claudette, and then the other one was Meg. And then var. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Maybe you can't, but that's okay. Bear with me here, because it's just stuff to get this to work. And this is Lori. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to cut it using Control X, and we're going to put it here. There we go. So that way when you randomly generate a name, it'll like do the right name, and you'll see what I mean in a second, because then we get our random number, and when we do ini read string, basically if you open a file that doesn't exist, it'll make that file. And if you put, so if we put profile, and if you put data in that doesn't exist, it's going to make that data. That's what that default thing is for. We're going to go profile, and then we're going to go, our key is going to be name, because that's what we have. Let's not do caps lock. And then our default, so right now, since there's no data in there, that's why we have our thing. We have our rand name, and in there we're going to put our random number that we got. So this will get this will get like a new name, basically. But what you would do is that you'd set a bunch of variables beforehand, like, you know, it's like come up with prompts and be like, type in your name, and it'll save that as a variable. And then it'll be like, oh, pick your character, right? And it'll save that as a variable. And then once it actually loads the file, like what you'll do is you'll go in and say, with those variables that you've all saved that the user, like the player selected, you can then come in here, open a file, and then make the default variables, those variables that player set. And then you'll have your new file. So then if we go read real, so we're just setting it randomly so that we don't have to do any of that prompt stuff, just so we can do it quickly. We're going to call it profile because that's just what we have in our ini, and the other one was called icon, and then we just want random. And the reason we're keeping them the same is so that like Claudettes and Megs and all that stuff, they match up. And then of course we don't want to forget ini close. That's what we're doing. So then what I'm also going to do is then just hit game restart. Or not even that, just room restart. Because that way it'll like make that file and then reload the room, so then like our file will come up. But in other cases you could have like go to another room, like go to the room, go to a menu room, go to somewhere else that then you can use that data. But for our sake, we're just gonna do room restart. That way we can see that we've made a new file. So we have like our new one, right? If I click on this one, nothing happens, which is interesting. Let's think about it. So let's go to %local app data %. Let's see what happened. Let's scroll down here to our profile saving tutorial. We only have profile 0. I wonder why. So if we go to left press, string number.ini, right? And we have like our number. Read reals, read string, like it should if that doesn't exist, but unless it's setting number wrong. You know, but if we come in here, number should be other point I, like that's what it should be. And that's what we should get. A puzzling mystery indeed. Maybe it doesn't have time to do it. I don't know. Let's just take out this room restart thing and just give it a try. Profile should be like that, random. I don't know, let's try it. Oh, that's debug mode. Yikes! I wish I knew the button to just do it automatically without doing stuff. Alright, let's get this out of here. So if I click on that, alright, now let's go to percent. Let's try and get this working. Obviously we want to. So we still have just our profile 0. So I wonder, so let's see, let's just do some bug things. Let's come in here and let's do draw text x plus 80, right? Y, and we'll just do number. And then same thing here, so I'll just copy this. Just so we can see if we can get the hang of it. File num. Oh, dang it, hit debug mode again. I hate that. Don't you? Does anybody know like the hotkey to hit the start the game without 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? So numbers being set correctly, right? Which is weird. Okay, so if we go to left pressed, string number plus .ini, profile ini open, profile string number. So we have like numbers correct, and it should do that stuff, and then just go ini close. Like that should be what's happening. Because going ini open on a file that doesn't exist will do that. Oh. Let's try. Oh. Wait. Oh. Psh. Right. Let's change these to right. How about that? Gosh. So it'll be right string, right real. Good, Gandhi. It's always something simple, though. Luckily we got that. Like, I didn't want to turn into a... So when you want to put information into a file, that's what you'll do. Is you'll do right, and if that information's not there, it'll not read. I mean, read string will still do that too, I think. But right is what we want, because we're making a new file. There we go! See, except that's Lori, and it's like not quite correct, but that's because I think I did it wrong. And we got another Claudette, we got another Lori, Meg, Claudette, Dwight, Meg, Claudette, blah, 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 right? That's what we did! Woo! Good thing about that figured out. So we can go to make profile and whatnot. And then, well, I should go to our icons and switch these two so that that's all correct. And then the last thing we're going to do is do like file deleting. So we're going to go right press. So when we right press a file, it'll delete it. So we're just going to say if file number is not equal to -1. Did I do that right? Yeah. Not equal to -1. We're going to say ini. I think it's just delete. Or no, it's better. It's like simpler than that. File delete. And then it's going to be profile plus string number plus .ini. .ini. Can't forget that. So that's simple. That makes it easy. So that way now. Oh, and that's actually to do room restart again too. Room restart. Restart. So now we have mastery. We have mastery over all the files. Ha ha ha. Because we fill them all up, right? And as we come in here, boom, it saved it all. So then we go delete, 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 right? So now we got 2 Claudettes. We got a Lori. Hopefully this is, there we go. Another Claudette, so we can like exit out, right? We can hit play again. Right, and then we go in here, boom, and it saves it all. Claudette, Meg, Lori. Boom, delete, 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 deletes, and then we have nothing. And then, we just put that in Lori. So, that's that. I know it gets a little rough. It gets a little bumpy, but that's how my tutorials usually go. But that's how programming usually goes, to be honest. So mine are the most realistic programming tutorials on the internet. Wow. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this crap. Always remember to complete breakfast, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.